Hillary Clinton's team hits the backspace key on last week's claim about how her personal emails were deleted. And now there are new questions about possible financial ties to the Chinese government. This is Special Report. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. 1 week after conceding she should have been smarter about using just one smartphone as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton now says she took for granted that everyone knew what she meant when she said her personal emails had been deleted. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry tells us tonight there are new details about questionable fundraising with the potential to be an even bigger problem for the prospective presidential candidate.
She's not even Irish and guzzled water instead of Guinness like others in the crowd at the Irish America Hall of Fame induction. But Hillary Clinton was eager to showcase herself as a grandma, accepting a tiny shamrock sweater ahead of St. Patrick's Day. And a stateswoman who got into the Hall of Fame because of efforts to help Northern Ireland as a First Lady, Senator, and Secretary of State.
You cannot bring peace and security to people just by signing an agreement.
Yet her effort to turn the page from the email trouble may not last either, as Clinton woke up to new questions about her tenure as secretary. CBS News reported a Chinese construction company with close ties to the government gave $2 million in 2013 to the now named Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation after she had left the State Department. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told Fox in a brief interview today it raises questions about whether Clinton had a conflict and was raising money for the foundation during her time in office. While Republicans in the House, like Trey Gowdy, chairman of the Special Benghazi Committee, are now threatening to subpoena Clinton's private email server to determine if deleted personal emails were really official business.
The House, as an institution, may be forced to go to court to try to get access to that.
Clinton today also dodged a question from Fox about whether she signed this document, promising to account for all records in her possession before leaving the State Department.
Hello, Madam Secretary. Did you sign the separation statement before you left state? Did you sign that statement?
Violating the terms of that document amounts to perjury, though for the third time in a week, State Department spokeswoman Jen Psaki would not disclose if Clinton signed it.
I understand why you're asking. We're looking to get an answer. I don't have an answer today.
Meanwhile, on Sunday night, the Clinton camp clarified that her lawyers read every email before they were deleted, even though a fact sheet it had released after last week's news conference suggested otherwise, as a Clinton intimate offered a reason why she wanted to shield email in the first place.
I suspect she didn't want Louis Gohmert rifling through her emails, which seems to me to be a kind of reasonable position for someone to take.
And tonight, Clinton is jumping into the fight over Loretta Lynch. McConnell has slowed her nomination to be Attorney General in favor of an anti-human trafficking bill that has abortion language that Democrats do not like. Clinton tweeted out 2 tweets about a GOP trifecta against women, saying that they're slowing the first African-American woman to be Attorney General. They're playing politics, she said, with human trafficking and also threatening women's health, an idea that whole talk about war on women may be coming back in 2016. Brett?
Ed Henry live tonight in New York. Ed, thank you. Another woman who has made no secret of her desire to be the first female president is stepping up her attacks on Hillary Clinton. Senior political correspondent Mike Emanuel has that story in tonight's 2016 Roundup.
Former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina, with a technology background, has been one of the harshest critics of Hillary Clinton's email controversy. Today, after a weekend in Iowa, Fiorina criticized Clinton for only supporting women who share her views.
And Hillary Clinton said, it's not enough to be a woman. You have to be a woman who believes, and she then went through the litany of liberal beliefs.
In New Hampshire today, Texas Senator Ted Cruz appealed to rural voters, selling his ideas on scrapping the Department of Education and abolishing the tax collection agency.
There is a populist moment right now to push for a flat tax and to shut down the IRS. That will only happen if it comes from the people. It will only happen if there is a grassroots movement behind it.
Over the weekend, 2 early frontrunners introduced themselves to Granite State voters. Former Florida Governor Jeb Bush showed he isn't planning to back away from his positions on immigration and the education standards known as Common Core.
The way I've sorted it out is, I think you need to be genuine. I think you need to have a backbone. I think you need to be able to persuade people. This is a national crisis. This is a national priority. Our country will not be as vibrant and as dynamic as it needs to be unless we dramatically improve education outcomes in this country.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker visited many of the same places as Bush and emphasized his humble beginnings.
From all my parents and grandparents, I didn't inherit fame or fortune. What I got was something more important. I got the belief that in America, if you work hard and you play by the rules, you should be able to do or be anything you want.
And while Bush and Walker have gotten much of the early attention, recent polling suggests Florida Senator Marco Rubio is seen by many voters as an acceptable alternative when a majority of voters say they want change in 2016. Meanwhile, there was a lighter moment over the weekend in Iowa when former Senator Rick Santorum was signing autographs for supporters, and Cruz stepped up to get one.
And while all this feels like presidential campaign activity, nobody has actually taken the plunge so far. From the pace of travel and events at this point, it would seem at least some will start officially jumping in April. Brett?
Counting the days. Mike, thank you. Let's turn overseas now. Russian President Vladimir Putin is alive, apparently well, and amused at all the gossip about his absence from public view. That's the word from the Kremlin leader, who is back in front of the cameras while his military carries out his orders for a show of force. Senior Foreign Affairs correspondent Greg Palcott has that story tonight.
After a 10-day absence from the public eye, Russian President Vladimir Putin met today with the president of former Soviet state Kyrgyzstan, as planned. Putin's disappearance spawned rumors from him being a victim of a coup to attending his girlfriend giving birth. Most think he was simply ill. Following a Putin-conducted car tour, the Kyrgyzstan president noted,
The president of Russia not only walks, but also races and gives car rides to his guests.
To which Putin added,
It will be boring without gossip, just boring.
The attention to Putin's no-show underscored the increasingly dangerous domination of Russia by Putin.
It shows that Putin is the top guy in Russia and nothing works when he's not around. It also shows the Kremlin is a black box. We don't know what's going on inside.
Just launched, said to be on the orders of Vladimir Putin, another massive Russian military exercise. This one in the Arctic region, including some 40,000 Russian troops, 50 ships, and 100 aircraft. Much like the drill seen before the Russian-backed fighting in eastern Ukraine and the annexation 1 year ago of Ukraine's Crimea Peninsula. In a documentary on Russian state TV, Putin asserted he decided on the takeover long before a derided referendum there. During those tensions, he said he was close to putting his nuclear forces on high alert.
We don't use nuclear threats in our vocabulary of diplomatic relations. Putin does, and it's very worrying.
There is currently a ceasefire in eastern Ukraine, but the White House, NATO, and our own sources now say that Russian forces and their proxies are preparing again for battle, with Vladimir Putin very much in charge. Brett.
Greg Palcott in London. Greg, thank you. So what do you think Putin was doing the last 10 days? Let me know at facebook.com/BrettBairSR or on Twitter @BrettBair. You can use the hashtag special report. Send us something good. We may use it in the panel a bit later. Up next, the White House asks Republicans to back off on an Iran deal. First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 25 in Boston as jurors in the Marathon bombing trial visit the bullet-riddled boat in which defendant Yohar Tsarnaev was captured. Jurors were lifted up to get a look inside that vessel. More than 100 bullet holes are marked individually with evidence tape. Fox 5 in New York, where they may be looking at a very tough allergy season there. The station's medical correspondent says the West and Southwest are already reporting high pollen counts, so the East can expect the same in coming weeks. And this is a live look at Phoenix from Fox 10, our affiliate out in Arizona. Big story there tonight. Two veterans, father and son, get their first look at their renovated home. A group called Operation Enduring Gratitude spent about a year fixing up the place with donated equipment. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.